All right. Final topic of the day, as always, brought to you by kindafunny.com/forums. If you have a topic for us to read on this Gamescast, go to kindafunny.com/Gamescast topic. Leave a post, and we'll get to it just like we're going to with Matthew_Clem. But his name isn't spelled like Matthew. It's Mathyu.
Matt who?
What? No, it's Matthew. It's still Matthew. Anyways, do you think we get too many free games? If you're a subscriber to PlayStation Plus or Xbox Gold and have all the consoles, that's up to 10 free games a month. I love seeing new games and trying new games I may not normally try, but it adds to my backlog exponentially. What are your thoughts?
Well, technically they're not free because you pay for them. You pay for your subscription service that then gets you that. But no, I mean, for me, the ones that come along on PlayStation Plus or Xbox Gold are totally just like, oh, cool. Mm-hmm. If I'm into that one, I'll get it or download it. Or, I usually redeem everything. And then will I ever play it? Not necessarily. My backlog's things that I want to play, that I know I need to play, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing as what Colin said. Just why you have a much more options. Like, you have so much choice.
That's where my mind went too, where it's just like... Because we all struggle with the issue of backlog, and like we talk on Podcast Beyond about how I've started to just let go. Like, I really did much like Matthew maybe worry about, like, I'm missing things, and eventually I was like, I can't play all this stuff. There's just not enough time in the day. Mm-hmm. People were talking about with the Emmys recently, where it's like, who has the time to watch all this shit? And the answer is you don't. Yeah. So you have to like pick and choose. But more choice is good. So I think both these guys are right. Like, Greg's right in the sense that you're paying for these games, and the studios are getting paid a lot of money to put these games up for free. But at the same time, more choice just means you have your backlog. You can cater your backlog. Doesn't mean your backlog shouldn't literally mean all of the games you missed that are on your download list. What it should mean is like what games you really want to play. Like I keep talking about. Like, there are two games that I keep thinking in my mind that are legitimately on my backlog, my legacy backlog. Like BioShock Infinite, I have to go back and finish because I really didn't like that game, and I stopped playing it more than halfway through it. And I'd like to see it to the end. And The Evil Within is a game I keep going back to. I'm like, I really, really want to play this game. I don't have time, but there's like 80,000 games in there that I also missed that I accept that I can't play them. So more is good. More makes competition, and it makes people be better.
It all stems from a simpler time, right? I feel like when we started at IGN, right, you literally could play everything. You know what I mean? Like, digital downloads hadn't taken off. That wasn't a thing. The PSN and Xbox Live was just getting started. Yeah. And what was on there wasn't amazing. Like, Geometry Wars, sure. Super Rub-a-Dub, of course. But, I mean, like, there was actually slow periods. I remember summers when there was nothing to play. So I remember playing on my Wii Super Paper Mario or whatever it was. You know what I mean? The Wii Mario.
Yeah, Super Paper Mario.
It was Super Paper Mario. And having a great time with it. But I remember, like, playing that start to finish and starting it over. And, like, nowadays I'd probably play half of that and be like, this is awesome. I've had enough, though. You know what I mean? I'm out. You know what I mean?
I think that's just kind of the nature of where we're at as a people at this point, where it is just kind of like you have the time to see if it's for you or not. And I think this is really cool that it's just these are things that are essentially being recommended to you, and it's like things that you might not necessarily have looked at before. I mean, it reminds me of Colin. Like how many games that you've recommended at some point end up being on PlayStation Plus? You know,
many.
And I think that's very, very telling. You know,
that's a predictable cycle.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a good thing, though.
Hey, there's this cool indie game coming out, and there's not much buzz about it. Well, hold on, everybody. Just give it a few months.
It'll be free, and you can try it out. But I think that it creates this cool thing when people like Colin recommend it, then you know about it. Then when you see it, you're like, all right, well, I'm not going to play these other free games that I don't know what they are, but I've heard good things about this. I'm going to give it a try. Whereas they wouldn't necessarily give it a try to pay for it, but when it's there, it's free to them, then they'll jump on it and even just try it out. Like, I like this. This reminds me of just the modern day demo disc. Like, I remember when the PS3 first came out and you could download demos. I was so stoked. I was like, I'm just going to download all these things and try them out. Yeah. And I did. And like demos slowly stopped being a thing. People don't really do that anymore. Now it's either a beta or a free game.
Stress testers.
But I think this is just the natural evolution of it. I think it's a good way to do it. The Ben Como asks, what do trophies and achievements mean to you, and how does it influence which games you play and how you play them?
It used to mean everything.
Yeah, right. It used to be a way bigger deal.
Yeah, I had GameFly. I'd play games and like just shoot up my gamer score. And personally, like I was addicted to gamer score. Now I'm to the point like, what does it even matter for me personally, right? It's like so I have a high gamer score. What does that really mean? And also, I got to the point where I was like, I'm playing games for like 40 hours that I fucking hate, but just to get this gamer score. Like, what am I doing with my life right now? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, to me, it means nothing. And in terms of like, depending on what, like, if I'm gonna get a game or anything like that, it just no. I mean, if I like the game, I like the game.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it used to be bragging rights. That was a big thing with Colin and I. Not we competed a little bit between each other when we were both on PlayStation team back in the day, but it was more the fact that we know PlayStation so well. Look at our trophies and look at all this stuff, and then we had something to talk about on the shows of like playing Hannah Montana or doing this or something stupid like the Great Trophy Horror War, and then the Armistice signed of how we had to do all these different things. But yeah, nowadays what they mean to me, for me now, trophies and platinums in particular are me like the tip of the hat. Like I love I had such a great time with Arkham Knight. Yeah, I wanted the platinum in it, and now I'm trying to get all the dumb DLC bronze trophies just because I want that to be 100% because I'm so happy with it. And Metal Gear, I love that game so much that I do want a platinum and I will get there. And all the Lego games, right? Like for me, platinums used to be. First off, I was a trophy whore. Like, give me the cheapest, easiest platinum. I don't care. I'll suck that dick for that platinum. You know what I mean? But now, yeah, it's totally just like I really love this game. I like this game so much that I'm willing to put so many hours into it to get this and this and this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that I think we had to find a balance. I think that's what Greg and I found was a balance because we were really out of control for a long time with the trophies as Alfredo was with his achievements, and I think trophies are important. I think achievements are important. I think it adds an extra dynamic to the game. I think that people that criticize trophies and achievements are kind of lame because it's just like just ignore them. It's not really that big of a deal. There are people that like them. There are a lot of people that like them. Mm-hmm. These sites do massive traffic that cater to trophy guides and achievement guides and all those kinds of things. And I always look at a game's trophies. I look at PSN profiles like almost every day to see like what trophies have been uploaded before the games come out, and I look at them. And I can call like Babe Ruth calling his shot or whatever. I can call like certain games being like, yeah, I'm going to platinum Fallout 4. I'm going to platinum Uncharted 4. But there are games where I look at the trophy list with like The Witcher, which I put in a lot of time. I didn't beat it, but where it's like I just can't do this. Even Mad Max is a good example where I'm 100% completing Mad Max, but I'm not going to get the platinum in it because there's just certain things that I don't want to do. Mm-hmm. And 4 or 5 years ago, I would have done it. Like do all these races with all these cars and stuff. I'm like, all right. Mm-hmm. But now it's like, you know what? I'll have like 80% of the trophies in that game. That's fine. I have 50 platinum trophies. I put in my time. My 50th platinum trophy was Shovel Knight, and I that was a hard one, and I'm proud of that. So it's just the game, but that was 5 months ago. I was actually just looking recently. Like I haven't gotten a platinum in 5 months. So it's it exists and it's there, and the system's important, and I care about those things. But at the same time, like it's not going to like ruin my life anymore. But I will always look at a game's trophies. Always. And my intention is to platinum Uncharted 2, and Uncharted 3 in the Drake collection. So yeah, like to Greg's point, it's about the games you like. It used to be about like how can I just shit down Greg's throat and have more trophies than him.
Now it's really didn't do till I was like done, so you never really did it.
Yeah, I put you away so far. It's like not even worth you even talking about it anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, when I stopped, you passed it by me and got crazy.
The one question I have from everything you just said is, Alfredo, like you're saying that it doesn't mean anything to you now. Does it really not mean anything to you now, or
it really doesn't? But that's just me. Like I've been there, so I know the addiction, right? Yeah. Like. And then I can also see like the middle ground where it's just like this is my favorite, like Destiny, right? This is my favorite game. Like of course I want to get all the gamer score. And I just got to the point where I was just like I didn't like looking at non-completed games, and there were some games like Gears where it was like get like 10,000 kills in multiplayer. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was the bullshit. That was that Resistance 2 had this similar like almost impossible trophy, which was 10,000 kills trophy online. I'm like, why are you fucking kidding me? Like you're playing 20-minute matches and maybe getting 15 kills at the most, and I'm like, you really want me to sit? And then I sat on that couch for like a month and tried to do it.
Oh my god!
So it wasn't like I didn't try. I mean, that was when the psychoses hit like fucking max level. But were you still 100% games to 100%? I mean, that's what I'm trying to recapture with Mad Max. Is I'm going through all the motions in that game and having a good time. I'm like, this is the way I used to play games. But then I think about like Final Fantasy VII coming out, which is the re-release, and I'm like, I'm platinuming that too. So it's just like, and we already know what those trophies are because they'll be the same as the Steam achievements. So it's about identifying the games like Greg said that you like and putting the time in if you want. But they're there. But the one thing that bothers me is the people that are like criticizing, like, who cares about trophies? Like, dude, a lot of people care about them and they wouldn't exist.
A lot of people do.
So there's a follow-up question from AJ1991 who wants to know if you guys find it harder, specifically you guys, find it harder to go back and play older games that don't have trophies.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I legit do. I mean, I when Oblivion was re-released on PS3 and they fixed it, and it was like a year or two ago. And or Fall of Man is another good example, which is a game I love, a launch PS3 game. It's like why aren't you putting fucking trophies into this? And the answer, of course, is that they have to re-QA and stuff like that. So, Insomniac, the same thing. That we talked to them. I talked to them when Fall of Man was released digitally or whatever. I don't know what. Or no, they re-released it in the Resistance pack, and I'm like, why doesn't this have trophies? And it's like we can either like put 4 people on patching this game for trophies and then send it back through certification, or we can just release it. Yeah,
They make it complicated.
Yeah, but I also think that they underestimate how few people will play the or how many more people will play the game.
Right.
Should they include trophies as that piece? And I always reference it. It was in 2010 or 2011 when we were at IGN when they referenced like a game will sell way more if it has good trophies. Like it will. It will sell noticeably more. People notice that their games sell better when there's trophies on them or achievements. But yeah, it does for PS3 and beyond. The game, it does affect me. If we're going before that, then there's no there's no choice. The bigger confusion is why people don't just re-release games, put them through cert again, and put trophies on them. If I was Square Enix, for instance, I would release every Final Fantasy game for $10, put trophies on all of them, and fucking sell them and sit back and watch the money roll in because it would. But they don't do that.
Mm-hmm. So, Colin, we got a couple questions specifically towards you. Ryan Sentiel wants to know, so you love Mega Man. What are your thoughts on the Mega Man Battle Network series on the Game Boy Advance?
Battle Network. I like Battle Network, but like anything Capcom does, they ruin it. So it's like you have a good idea, and then 9 months later it's the sequel, and then a year later it's another one, and then there's a fucking another series like Star Force that is exactly the same basically as this one. It's the same with Mega Man X, like X, X2, X3, even X4. These are great games, but then like by X8 it's like God all fucking mighty, like. Enough is enough. Like the only one they can do like that because the gameplay is so on point, of course, is the classic 8-bit versions, and they can release those every year for all I care. That would be great. But Battle Network was great. It was a great game. Battle Network 2 was a great game, but eventually it was like enough. Like they just shove shit down people's throats. That Capcom doesn't so much exist anymore. But in the late 90s, like from like the Street Fighter Alpha era till I don't know, a few years ago, that was the way they were, and it was fucking obnoxious, to be honest.
Jilly 1987 asks, do you think Star Ocean 5 will be a return to form for a Square Enix JRPG, or is this game going to continue the downward spiral?
I don't know. This game I think is being developed by Tri, so that's not a Square studio. So this is a game that Square is.
There's hope.
Yeah. So this is a game that Square is financing, and another team is doing it. If I know the story correctly. So I don't know if you can call it a return. It would be like saying Tomb Raider's a return to form for Square Enix. Like that's not really a Square game, Like it's a Square published game, but that's not what we consider a Square game. I think Square is personally in a bit of trouble with their internal developers, clearly. Will Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3 pan out? Sure. When will we play them? Who the fuck knows? They have bigger fish to fry. I think Star Ocean is going to be a nice stopgap for people that like JRPGs, but that's not the game people want, or a lot of people want. They want Final Fantasy 15.
Cool.
And Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, definitely Kingdom Hearts. Final question of the day from Falcor. Yeah. Hey guys, I love the God of War series, and I haven't seen or heard you guys talk a lot about it.
Calliope!
I'm just curious if you guys like the series, and if not, why?
Wow.
This is an old one, huh?
Well, yeah, but it's just fun. It's fun that people run into us and don't know us. Yeah. Man, the God of War series. It's a big question. You know what I mean? On how it all comes down. First off, let's get it on the table and put it out there. Kratos sucks. Yeah, Kratos is a bad character. He's got no range of. He yells everything. Calliope, Zeus, your son has returned. And this is totally one of those games I'm allowed to talk shit on, like Colin always talks about, because I've played them all. You know what I mean? And so, whenever somebody's like, "Oh, I love Kratos," I'm like, I don't know how you can fucking love this meathead idiot who just fucking keeps fucking everything up and killing everything. But whatever, he's fun to play as. Yeah, the gameplay of God of War is fun. Mm-hmm. I enjoy playing God of War games, and that took a long time. I remember. I had started right before God of War 2 came out on the PlayStation team at IGN. And so when I got God of War 2 and sat down and played it for a little, I was like, all right. Now, I didn't go far into it. I didn't get into it. Like, Roper was so in the God of War, you know what I mean? And so was everybody at IGN, honestly, at that time. And never really clicked for me. And it wasn't, honestly, until the PSP games that I was like, oh, these are a lot of fun, and this is how I won. And then that led to me getting into God of War 3, enjoying that, going back and playing God of War 1, God of War 2, and having fun with all that. But I stand by the fact that just Kratos is such a dumb character.
Yeah, I think God of War is style over substance. Yeah, and that's not to say there's no substance there. The gameplay is actually quite good. The arcade, very arcadey, kind of the way I want games to play. Actually, when I talk about like a more arcadey style, a faster style, like Bloodborne, for instance, was more fun because it was a little more arcadey. That's what I want. I don't like stiff gameplay. I don't know why anyone would like stiff gameplay. That doesn't make any sense. But some people do. They like a more realistic, grounded, weighted character, and that's not what God of War is. So the gameplay is good, but I agree. Like the Kratos sucks, and when your main character sucks, like you don't want to play. Like that's like my whole thing with the game. So God of War 1 beat, God of War 2 beat, God of War 3 I kind of just abandoned. I played Ascension at preview events and stuff, and
Ascension, I don't even know what even counts.
I think that it's a series maybe a little bit like Gears, where they don't know quite what to do with it, and I think I was hoping that with Ascension's kind of failure that Santa Monica was going to move on. Now I'm pretty confident that they are not going to move on.
But if they take it and treat it like a real thing, my thought with God of War from the get go, Jaffe and everybody else starting this thing, right, is that I don't think they understand. How are they knowing they're going to make a game that's going to become this giant thing, this like PlayStation franchise, right? So yeah, like on a one-off game, God of War, yeah, your family's been killed, you're this god, demigod, go kill the gods. That's a cool idea, but it's when you try to stretch that story for 7 more games where it's like, this dude just fucking yells. Why would I ever sympathize with him? Why would I ever want to be him? Why there's no cutscenes I want to watch? Why don't the gods just smush him? You know what I mean? Like, there's no real reason to be into him, but it's because they started already painted into a corner. Right. If we have this pulp novel kind of thing, like, crap, now I got to make a thing out of it. Yeah. So if they restart it and they actually let him whisper and talk and laugh and have fun with his family, maybe I'll be like, oh shit, now I'm into it.
Yeah, there's the spectacle that it doesn't work though. I mean, God of War it's the spectacle. It's these crazy boss fights and these crazy set pieces and stuff like that.
But I think you can do that. You can merge a good story with that.
Maybe I think we will find out. I think that we're gonna get another God of War game. So but yeah, like I just think it's out of the A tier. When I look at some of the franchises that have come and gone, like Resistance, which is something I hold really near and dear to my heart, that I think has gameplay and significant substance in terms of story and resonance and stuff like that. It's like, why? Like, it's just like, why is this game? No one cares about this, and people care about this, and it's like that's one of those games where I'm like, I get why people love Uncharted. Uncharted's fucking awesome,
Ares!
But God of War, it's just like, geez, man, It was an interesting game for a while, and it's we haven't really gotten, when you really think about it, if you don't count Ascension, we haven't gotten a new God of War game in 5 years. So like a new core console God of War game in a long time. Because God of War 3 I think came out in 2010, if I remember correctly. So
it's a franchise I totally missed out on. It's like probably one of the few PS2 era franchises, like new franchises that I didn't play because my PS2 was launch PS2. And Laser didn't read certain games for some reason.
I know that one.
And just wouldn't read God of War games, so I just never played them.
It's also a very late game, too. I mean, people forget God of War 2 came out after PS3 came out on PS2, which was also one of the fucking weirdest things that I thought Sony could have done. But, yeah.
Cool. This episode is brought to you by Loot Crate. Would you classify yourself as a geek, gamer, or pop culture nerd? Then Loot Crate's the subscription box for you. Loot Crate's a subscription box service with $40 worth of geek, gamer, and pop culture gear, collectibles, apparel, comics, etc. delivered to your mailbox every month. Make sure to head to lootcrate.com/kfgames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on any new subscription. Every month's a different theme. You guys are familiar with this. This month's theme is time. And quite appropriately, we're celebrating the 30th anniversary of Back to the Future in the month and year Marty McFly travels to in Back to the Future Part 2. The timeless appeal of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and the timey-wimey charm, what does that even mean, of Doctor Who. Basically, Loot Crate's like a friend who knows what you love and surprises you with an awesome present every month. Did we mention that they ship to over 13 different countries? You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate, and when the cutoff happens, you can't get it anymore. So go to lootcrate.com/KFGames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on your new subscription today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for the first and last ever episode 38 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Alfredo, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
dropping
having
some
me.
first-person shooter impressions and knowledge on us. I'm sure we'll have you back. I want to have you back in a month or two, so we can have you talk about the
COD,
when Halo comes out, Call of Duty, and all that
it's
stuff.
a lot of shooters.
So that should be fun. Thank you guys as always.
Always a pleasure.
This was good. Until next time, I love you all.